stove analogy and apply it into my life, I would take, for example, communication with a spouse a lot of times can be an issue. Like, I can't believe you just talked to me that way. I can't believe that you just said that to me. And we can take things really, really personal because we care a lot. And that's a perfect example of somewhere being really attached. We get attached to a person, we get attached to the situation, and we just don't want it to ever be different. So we start making crazy choices within that situation to ensure that it's not going to be different. So my husband would say to me, I know a certain example where I was like cutting pizza, and he walks up behind me and he looked at me and he says, "What are you cutting it that way for?" My mind said, I cannot believe that he does not even trust me to cut a pizza. He cannot think that or never thinks that I do anything right. He always thinks that his way is better. Who the heck does he think he is? Over here questioning me on how I cut a pizza. I'm 32 years old. I know how to cut a pizza. You know, my mind starts. I don't even know. I don't even know. You know, my mind's like, what kind of question is that?
It's like, how do you cut a pizza wrong?
Exactly. Like, why is he even asking me? Exactly. Why is he even asking me this? What's wrong with him? It's all going to taste the same, no matter how, you know, my mind went on this spill. And I'm sure you guys can relate to an instance in which somebody questioned you that you were just like, what? How dare he even question my pizza cutting abilities? And I stopped myself. This was the first instance that I was conscious in what was happening. Normally, if I was not aware of what was going on in the situation, I would have just been like, if you think you can cut the pizza better, why don't you just cut it yourself? Now, all he did was ask me, why are you cutting it that way? My instinct, my reactive mode was to be like, well, fine, why don't you do it? If Mr. Smart Pizza Cutting Master, you know, that was my first reaction. And instead I stopped because I had that little moment. I breathed, which is really, really key. And we're going to do probably a whole class on breathing in the future because I've gotten to this new level of understanding my breath that's been just really, really powerful. And I never understood it that way in the past. So if I can relate my perspective, I definitely want to do that. I took a moment's breath, and I thought to myself, okay, this is perfect, because I feel this anxiety and stuff building up in me. I could feel like this feeling. So instead of acting it, I took a moment, and I was like, okay, what do I know to be true? Where's the truth? The truth of the situation. Because I don't know what he meant. I don't know what was behind that question. All I heard were the words that came out of his mouth. Why he said it, what he was thinking, what was beyond it, I don't know that. I have no way of knowing, unless I ask him. Crazy idea that would be, to ask somebody what they're thinking instead of just assuming. But I realized I didn't know what was motivating him. So what do I know to be true? What I do know to be true is that my husband loves me. He loves me, and he thinks that I am amazing. So if I know that to be a truth, that my husband loves me, he thinks that I'm amazing, why would he think that I don't know how to cut a pizza? He wouldn't think that I don't know how to cut a pizza. He would think that I'm the best pizza cutter ever. So maybe he's just asking me why I'm cutting it that way. You know what I mean? Maybe
he just wants to understand.
He just wants to know. So, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm cutting the pizza, and I've gone from like this, to, wait a minute. So I stopped, and I responded back. I looked at him and I said, because this is the way I want to cut it. And he looked at me and goes, cool. And he walked off. I could have had a huge fight. I could have had this whole, well, if you think that you can cut it better, then he's going to be like, what the heck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? It could have started this whole cycle. And then it made me think, how many times have I done that in the past that we've ended up in some fight because I assumed that he was attacking me when in truth he's not attacking me, because in truth he loves me and he would never attack me. So I was able to stop in that moment, choose a totally different response, and it was peaceful. And it was quiet, and like the birds were chirping, you know what I mean?